This one is a shame. Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders strained an oblique throwing yesterday morning. He is now considered day-to-day. He won't practice today. He is unlikely to play in Saturday's game. And so I think the most interesting thing that we had going on in this NFL preseason will not be going on into this weekend. Graziano, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've heard is day-to-day, won't practice today, not likely to play this weekend. But obviously, for a guy that spent the entire offseason number 4 on the quarterback depth chart there, this pushes back his opportunity to keep moving up. They saw some positive signs, obviously, in the game that he started by default because, Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett are hurt. But missed practice time at this point for any rookie quarterback, let alone one that's that far down the depth chart, is going to be damaging to his long-term prospects in terms of being able to start.
What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, but I mean, he put some good stuff on tape. It wasn't perfect, but that good stuff on tape, I think, will probably keep him in a safe spot on this team. But you're right. Like, anytime you have an opportunity to get better, especially at this age, and losing it is really devastating. And also, to your point, Greeny, it's one of the few things that I care about. Yeah. I was looking forward to watching Shedeur try to top what he had done before.
There are a few things, Marcus, that are interesting to watch in the preseason. I want to see the rookie quarterbacks when they play. The Jackson Dart, he flashed and we got excited. Shedeur Sanders, we got excited. Travis Hunter playing both sides of the ball. Now we don't get that. So that's our piece of this. Marcus, from their piece of this, what does this injury actually mean for Cleveland, for Shedeur, and for whatever winds up happening with their quarterback situation?
Yeah, it's super unfortunate because what he showed in the preseason is that, in my opinion, he earned more reps in practice and an opportunity to play against good on good. And Dominique knows that, Graz knows that being in camp, that is some valuable reps when you get a chance to play against your ones, especially with what Cleveland has. And I think for Shedeur, the most important thing now is to understand how the rehab process goes. Like, stay in tune, keep your mind going, make sure you're there and available to know all of the information that you need to know so you hit the field and you back getting to it. It's just unfortunate because what it was becoming, what he made it, I believe, in this preseason, was a competition between him, Dillon Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett for that second spot behind Joe Flacco. And I thought if he came out and had another really good performance, there was no way to deny at least a true thought about movement up the depth chart. Now, here's what we got to see in Cleveland. The injury obviously didn't change the depth chart with Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel. It shouldn't change for Shedeur Sanders when he gets back and he's able to get those reps again and unfortunately get an opportunity in the preseason to play and perform once again in one of those games.
Well, and those guys could have moved down. There's really nowhere for him to go down. Right? I mean, if you fall 5th behind Tyler Huntley, I don't know exactly what other impact that might have.
The point about that Swagu was making about him being in the number 2 or them fighting over this number 2 spot is interesting because it's a unique number 2 spot. Yeah. Joe Flacco, he's not the long-term answer there.
He's 40 years old. He's 40.
Right. Whoever is in that spot is going to get a chance at some point this season to solidify themselves as the quarterback of the future for the Browns. As much as a long shot as that seems, considering that the Browns have first-round picks in the following draft, it is a chance. And he is going to get that chance. Whoever, whether it's Dillon Gabriel, him, or Kenny Pickett, at some point this season, one or multiple of them, and whoever is in that spot is going to be the first one to get it.
Dan, you've been making the point regularly. I keep talking about how it just doesn't feel like I feel like he is flying against these headwinds for reasons I don't fully understand. And you were making the point that the way we, and let's just use me, the way I view this situation and the way they view it internally do not really have a lot to do with each other.
Right. I mean, he's a 5th-round pick. He's a developmental quarterback in their eyes. That's just by virtue of where he was selected. We saw him throw the ball very well the other night. We also saw some things he needs to work on, right? Like against the rush, there's some stuff he has to iron out. So they want to see what they can do with him, how they can bring him along, what he can become, because they do like him. Other than a couple of speeding tickets, my understanding is he hasn't done anything wrong since he got there. Like, he's handled everything, taken the coaching. He has not, he's not acted like, he's owed anything, and I think they're very, very happy with him. But there's so much noise around the kid, right? Like, there's so much conversation around it that we have to kind of peel it back sometimes and say, like, the Cleveland coaches are looking at him the way you would look at a 5th-round quarterback with some promise. Like, we have some things we need to work on with him. When he gets to a point where we would feel comfortable starting him in a game, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But
they're not naive. I get they know that he's not just some fifth-round quarterback, and I think that probably scared some teams off. But that's a mistake. I think if you think he's good enough at an important position, then you give him a shot. And like to understand that this noise, like I recognize, I've been in football culture. I recognize that anything is a distraction. But right now, no, I mean not that the Browns are complaining about it, but like there's not a ton to complain about. Yes, he's going to get more attention. So,
Marcus, jump in.
Well, the thing is, this is a performance-based business, right? And the reason why I said he shouldn't move down the depth chart because I thought his performance bunched him up with Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel more than it just being the fourth guy on the roster. We know what we know about Kenny Pickett, and obviously if he makes some dramatic change like Baker Mayfield has done, then Kenny Pickett may become the guy. But ultimately, we haven't seen Dylan Gabriel play an NFL game. So for us to go into this game thinking that Shedeur was still the fourth-string quarterback after that performance was asinine to me. The other thing too, Grimes, and you make a good point about the noise. The noise was going to be the noise if he would have went third overall or if he would have went undrafted because of Deion Sanders. And Shedeur now and what he's handled so well is, I think, my responsibility is to play quarterback. My responsibility is to play football. And one of the things that I thought was really smart of him, and I know it was strategic, and I know Prime wanted to be there. He told his dad, "Don't come.
Yeah.
I can't focus on you being here and what everybody else is going to talk about while I'm trying to get this job." The kid has been under scrutiny his entire life because Deion Sanders is his dad. He's had to play in very important situations because of Deion Sanders being his dad. Now that he's growing into his own man and understanding what this league is truly about, he's making it about football, and he's done that in so many examples up until this point, and I think it's going to bode well for him.
We live in this time, right, where like people perceive the noise as the reality. Right? There's so much show around literally everything. And so inside the building in Cleveland, it's not about blocking out the noise. It's about like doing the work as you would if this had been a fifth-round pick that nobody ever heard of. And that, I don't think that's a challenge for the Browns, but the spotlight that's on it puts them in a position where they're constantly having to answer questions about it, and maybe there's some external pressure to move more quickly than they feel like. So it's up to them to be responsible, and so far it seems like they have.
Yeah, the pressure is going to be there, and it's Shedeur's responsibility to increase that pressure by continuing to practice well and play well. I find it a little bit frustrating, the idea that other teams will move on from someone that they believe to be talented because they're concerned about the noise. But I think that part of the noise being loud is also because the Browns are the Browns.
Yes.
Like if it was another team that had a longer track record of success and they set Shedeur down, it'd be a different conversation. There'd be different feelings about it. Because the Browns have failed to have a starting quarterback, a franchise quarterback for so long, I think everything that pops up, we're going to add a little extra scrutiny.
And because of the mistake that they made with the Deshaun Watson thing, and now they're sitting there with a 40-year-old quarterback going into a season in which they've got 2 first-round picks at the end of the year. The single best thing that could possibly happen there is for either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders to emerge and to become a legitimate player for them going forward. That would be the best-case scenario, and I guess just sitting at the distance at which I sit, it doesn't feel as though they're going about it that way.
There are 19 more games counting preseason and regular season, so at some point this story will shift. To Dominique's initial point, most teams don't get through the season with just one quarterback.
That's right.
Right now the 40-year-old's the only one who's healthy.
Right.
So I think that's, by default he probably starts the season.
There have just been very few. Yeah, go ahead. Last word, but Marcus, go.
Yeah. Let me say this. Nick and Grimes knows this as well. At some point, the player's going to tell you who the quarterback is too. Like it becomes that in the NFL, and these guys gonna have confidence in one of these 3 guys behind Joe Flacco more so than the other, and that's gonna determine a lot as well.
Look, there have been very few fifth-round picks in history whose fathers are all-time icons and whose numbers have already been retired at their university.